Hey there, true believers. You're tuned into Baxter Building Radio via the Negative Zone feed, and welcome to episode 31 of the Fantastic Four Fancast. My name is Nate Charles. I'm your host, and I am joined by my co-host. His name is Shane Murray. How are you doing tonight, Shane?
I'm doing all right. How you doing tonight, bud?
I'm doing okay. We're just coming off a Christmas here yesterday, as of this recording. We record these a little in advance, so by the time this lands, it'll probably be a couple weeks past Christmas. But yeah. How was your Christmas this year, Shane?
It blew by. It just felt like a Saturday. Felt like I worked a 7-day work week. How about yourself?
Well, no, I was pretty good. I got to visit my folks, visit my family. I reconnected with my cousins, who I don't get to speak to a whole heck of a lot. That was fun. Had my Christmas party here the weekend before. You were in attendance. That was very fun. Did you enjoy your gift?
Yeah, I did enjoy my gift. I got the first John Byrne omnibus for Christmas. That's actually probably the biggest thing I got all year for Christmas.
Did you get a chance to dig into it at all yet?
No, absolutely not.
Hey, third week of every month, you'll have a chance to.
Yeah. No, I ended up even with being off a day that this week, somehow finishing the week off with 46 hours.
Oof, that's rough. I do need to thank you for the t-shirt that you got me for Christmas. Thank you.
Yeah,
Appreciate that. Nice little Fantastic Four t-shirt. A little four emblem broken up into representing the different power sets. I enjoyed that. Even if it does mean I have to go to the gym now to fit into it. But
I didn't realize you were the next size up yet.
it's okay. That's on me. So gives me some goals. Now I have a New Year's resolution.
I guess. Mine's just to make it through another day, so
Hey, I get that. So today, you saw the other thing that I got for Christmas from our friend was 18 of 24 VHS tapes
yes.
from the 1980s Marvel video library. So today I spent acquiring a VCR and getting it hooked up to a smart TV, which was a fun investment of time and money.
And chore.
But it's running now and it plays it. Doesn't necessarily play it well, but it plays it well enough. I had to share those in the Facebook group, at least the Fantastic Four related ones.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was nuts. And each one of those tapes was individually wrapped. Someone had way too much time on their hands.
It was hilarious.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Unless you're the person who has to do the unwrapping.
Nah, it was still hilarious.
But yeah, how did the kids enjoy Christmas?
They enjoyed Christmas. Freya got her leopard gecko, so she's fully stoked about that. So that's been a thing.
Like an actual living gecko?
Like a living gecko, yeah.
Oh, nice.
So he's finally getting a little comfortable. He moved around a little bit last night and ate finally. So that's going to be an experience. As he gets more and more adjusted to like the house, he'll be fine. And then Liam got Legos and such.
Nice. What about Aaron?
She got clothes and new board game. Well, an old board game, but a new board game. It's a board game we used to have that got lost in a flood somewhere. So reacquired it for her.
Er,
It's called Dixit. This version happens to be the Disney version of Dixit. So everyone gets a card and whoever's like the storyteller says like a word. So like mirror. And everyone puts a card down for mirror or representation of a mirror or just a card you just don't want in your hand anymore. It's kind of like a way to discard it. And then they shuffle them up and then they lay them out and it goes up to like you can have 6 players. So you'd put them in the spot and then everyone gets to vote on which card they think is the right one. So and then you just get points on if you guess right or like if you're the person who that has the card, like the storyteller, you if everyone guesses it, you don't get any points. So you want to give a good enough thing that like most of the people get it, so you can get points, but not everyone gets it. So you don't also not get points. So you can score pretty much every time someone's going around the table. So in the first to 30 wins, and I happen to be the winner of tonight's round.
Very nice, very nice. It's always great when you get somebody something for Christmas and then proceed to annihilate them at it.
Oh, dude, actually, we were annihilating her at first. She came back. She did have a strong comeback, but there was a point where like, so it was the first to 30, and I want to say me and Liam were like at 18, and she was still sitting back at like 4 points for a while. And then her and Freya, because Freya was like at 11, had like a strong comeback. They both got within like two of us, and then I ran away from all of them. I guess I know how their brain works because I only missed like one out of all of them.
Speaking of only missing one out of all of them, you want to get down to talking about today's book,
The old brass tacks.
where our antagonist manages to get down to just one of the four before his entire plan falls apart?
Oh, good old Namor.
Yeah, Shane, what are we covering here this evening?
Fantastic Four #9, the good old Jack and Stan issue.
Yep, we're going back to volume one, cover dated for December of 1962, but released on September 4th of 1962 with a cover price of 12 cents. As always, I hopped onto price charting today to get some values here, and you and I are going to play a little Price is Right, see if you can guess the value without going over. So, for an ungraded copy, how much do you think that is sold for, Shane?
This 120.
Well, yeah, you didn't go over. So the actual value, $190.50.
Fair enough.
Care to take a guess at the graded 9.8?
I don't even want to take a stab at it. I know it's a stupid number. I'm just gonna say $780.
You didn't go over. I mean, you're
That's
cold. You're freezing.
what is this ungodly number?
$21,199.70.
Oh, oh my God, it's so gross. I think you just like to watch me squirm about the $21,000 comic books.
It is one of the greater pleasures in my life.
Oh, I hate it so much.
So, today's book was written by Stan Lee, penciled by Jack Kirby, with inks by Dick Ayers. Colorist was Stan Goldberg, letterer Artie Simic, and the editor and editor-in-chief duties were also handled by Stan Lee. Shane, would you care to hear a synopsis via Marvel Unlimited?
I would.
Yeah, me too, but I'm gonna have to listen to you say it anyway because Marvel Unlimited has once again let us down.
Oh, Shinopsis time. Okay, so with the Fantastic Four down on their luck and about to have to sell all of their goods, they are saved by their one-time nemesis or future nemesis, Namor, who offers them a deal for a movie contract. Will this end poorly? Only time will tell.
Yep, that synopsis makes about as much sense as the rest of the book. Go ahead and take us through the cover.
So the cover's cool. It's got like a red to orange to yellow gradient in the background. And we have the Fantastic Four getting yelled at and bricks thrown at them. The bricks getting thrown at them is weird, but whatever. And then it has the Baxter building up for sale. And well, them all looking kind of mad and downtrodden and sad about having to lose their home. And then Namor standing there triumphantly with a big old smirk on his face in his little trunks.
Yeah, and he thinks to himself, little do they dream that they will soon be at the mercy of the Submariner. While our caption reads, What happens to the comic magazine heroes when they can't pay their bills and have no place to turn? Don't miss the newest and most original tale of all, the end of the Fantastic Four. And Ben is adjusting his hat here as he's about to get hit by a brick, and he says, Heroes 1 minute, bums the next. How did it happen to us? So yeah, you brought up that red and orange yellow gradient. I do believe that is supposed to represent the dusk sky over New York City. I do think that is really cool. I also find it very interesting that Johnny is carrying his suitcases while flamed on. That is amusing in a way. He also looks much smaller than usual. And I mean, I get that he's kind of hunched over, depressed, but I don't know. I'm not used to Johnny being that much shorter than Sue.
I think it's because his head's all the way down. Like you're looking at the
Yeah.
top of his head there. So I think it's just he is really sad. He's just a sad boy.
And yeah, we have the big sign on the Baxter building that says Fantastic Four evicted from building, 5 tower floors for rent. And the Baxter building looks kind of worse for wear back there. It's got shattered and boarded up windows.
Yeah, it looks like they Fantastic Four just broke everything before they left. Good old Ben just going running amok.
We open up and we are greeted by a half-page splash, which has the title of our tale, Shane.
Yep, the end of the Fantastic Four.
And we actually also get something that is going to become a permanent fixture for the first time here. Actual credits.
Yeah, I was stoked when I saw those the one not this morning when I read this earlier because I was like, "Oh man, finally we're to credits."
Script Stan Lee, art Jack Kirby, inking Dick Ayers, lettering Artie Simic. Kind of sad for Stan Goldberg that he doesn't get his own coloring credit there. Such a big part of the book.
It really is.
But yeah, as I said, we see this half-page splash, and our narration reads, In a hidden chamber far under the sea, Prince Namor, the amazing submariner, tunes into a TV newscast from the surface world and hears a startling announcement. Bulletin, the world famous Fantastic Four are bankrupt. They have announced their plans to dissolve their partnership and sell all their possessions in order to pay their debts. What's that? And Namor adjusts the set. Shane, go ahead and take me through the setting of Namor's living room here because it is
Epic.
offbeat to say the least.
All right, so his TV screen is like in mounted into a piece of coral, and then it has it looks like he has some I'm assuming like just stolen fish nets that he was trying to save the ocean from having because it's like hanging underneath the TV. And then he has his golden chair that has a shell for a back. And then, of course, he has the starfish table with his picture of Sue because no living room was good without the picture of Sue. And he has that awesome conch light to light up his living room.
And Namor puts his hand over his mouth and says, The Fantastic Four are about to split up, eh? Now, wasn't that mighty interesting? So they're penniless, are they? Well, this may just be the opportunity I've been waiting for. Meanwhile, at the headquarters of the Fantastic Four, we see Reed, Sue, Johnny, and Ben confronted by a mob of people, one of which yells, Where's the rent you owe me for this month? The next says, You still owe $1,000 for the electronic work we did on your Fantastic car. And Reed responds with, Now take it easy, all of you. I promise you'll all get paid. Just have a little patience. We want our money. I have questions about this panel, Shane, because I thought the person who did the electronic work on the Fantastic car was Reed Richards.
I would also think that the person that did the electronic work, going by especially the last two books in this start of this series, that's all he's good for. So, and being super smart. So I don't know. I don't know. Maybe he drew them a blueprint and they just had to follow it to the T.
Reed is a little apprehensive and he says, just give us a little time. We have a lot of equipment to sell in order to raise the money. Come back in a few days. All right, we'll give you a few days, but don't try to welch on your debts. You know it won't be easy for four characters like you to hide from the bill collectors. Mister, you can say that again. Reed, don't take it so hard, Sue says, placing a comforting hand upon his shoulder. It's all my fault, Sue. If only I hadn't bought those stocks with all our money. Then when the stock market went down, we lost it all. Oh, heck, Reed. We can make more dough, can't we? There must be some way I can cash in on this fiery body of mine. And Johnny flames on as Sue fades to invisibility. And me, my powers of invincibility must be worth some money to someone. And Ben picks up a pipe and begins to tie it into a knot. What about my strength? You mean to tell me a guy who can twist iron pipes can't make a buck easy as pie? I appreciate your support, but it's not that simple. I'm not going to let you rent yourselves out to a freak show. And the only other way to cash in on our supernatural powers is through crime, which would be unthinkable. Oh, yeah? Well, I might give it a thought. No, the only way to get the money we need to pay our bills is to disband and sell this skyscraper building of ours along with all of our equipment. Hey, look at those guys. They're starting to dismantle our pogo plane. And in the pogo plane hangar, there are about six gentlemen who have lassoed the pogo plane. I wouldn't say they're dismantling it. It looks like they're just trying to tear it down.
Yeah.
All right, boys, take her apart. We'll crate her out of here in pieces. And Ben grabs three of these men to prevent them from doing so. Let go of my plane, you crumbs. I'd have pulverized you for that. But the rest of the four grab Ben, causing him to release the workers. Thing, knock it off. I sold the plane to them. I had to. We're getting a good price for it. No price is good enough for all the work we put into designing that ship. I know how you feel, Thing, but we gotta sell the plane and everything else too. Okay, okay. I'm cooled off now. Just leave me alone. That's all. Leave me alone. I I never thought I'd see the day we'd lose all of Reed's wonderful inventions. Some rotten manager you were, Rubber Man. You made a fortune by selling patents on all your inventions. Enough dough to keep us going for years, but you had to be a big shot and invest it all in stocks, you lunkhead. Take it easy, Thing. You can ride a man just so far, and he'll finally break. I'm warning you. And our scene shifts to the street outside the Baxter building where Ben, now in his coat and hat, is waving down a taxi cab. Bah, maybe it's better this way. Those three do-gooders were beginning to cramp my style. I can probably make out better on my own. Taxi! Hey! Taxi! And as the cab pulls up, the driver looks out the window and says, Say, you're the Thing, ain't you? Sorry, pal, you ain't riding this cab. I heard how the four of you are flat broke. I don't want to be hung up for no taxi bill. And Ben takes this very well, does he not, Shane?
Oh, so well. I mean, that's what I do too. I also pick up taxis when I'm mad.
It looks like he's spinning it around in a circle.
Oh, yeah. It is the most mature way to handle this situation.
So, you don't want me for a passenger, eh? Well, I'm through taking guff from creeps like you. Hey, let me down. No, stop. Help! Oh, sure, I'll let you down. And next time, don't be such a careless driver. And how does Ben let this cab down?
He puts them on a old clock post, which is just amazing because it goes right through the middle of the cab.
Now I'll just get me a cab in my own way. And Ben pulls his Fantastic Four flare gun and fires it. A second later, the still impressive Fantastic Four flare signal rises above the rooftops of Manhattan. And, in answer to the dramatic signal, a section of the famous Fantasticar silently descends near the thing. And we who's piloting that section of the Fantastic Car, Shane?
Oh, it would be none other than Johnny Storm himself.
Thing! I knew it was you. Glad to see you, Junior. Glad you guys didn't sell that car yet. I need a lift. Later, the thing sinks into a chair in the apartment of his blind friend, Alicia. And Shane, we have an editor's note explaining who Alicia is.
Yep, the daughter of the strange puppet master. See Fantastic Four, number 8.
And if you are interested in checking out our episode on Fantastic Four number 8, that is episode 26, Prisoners of the Puppet Master. And Ben relaxes in an armchair while Alicia is pouring some tea. And that's the story, Alicia. The Fantastic Four are flat broke. Can't even pay our bills, so we gotta split up. Oh, how awful. But I'm sure everything will be all right. Don't worry. See, here is a puppet doll I made for you. It is a white knight. And Alicia produces, I would say that's what, a 12-inch puppet of a white knight?
Yeah, it looks like one of the big old GI Joes.
A doll. Great. Just what I need. Do not be bitter, my dear friend. Even though I cannot see you, I know you are just like my white knight. You are good and kind, and you will never desert your friends when they need you most. And Alicia begins to feel Ben's face with her hands in order to comfort him. It's a funny thing, kid. Despite your blindness, you see things much better than I do. You, you make me feel ashamed of myself. And just across town, we see the rest of the Fantastic Four in their living quarters. Reed holds up a magazine. If only we could be like the superheroes in some of these comic magazines, Sue. They never seem to worry about money. Life is a breeze for them. Oh, Reed, I can't bear to see you torture yourself this way. It just isn't right for us to break up. There must be some way we can make a fortune fast. I want to back this up just a second, Shane. What comic magazine do you think that Reed is holding in his hand here?
I'm thinking he's either holding Superman or Batman.
Probably Batman. That dude doesn't have to worry about money at all.
Fair enough. Sorry, Batman it is.
And Johnny, still flamed on, goes and answers the door where the three of them receive a telegram from the postman. Johnny doesn't understand that it takes money to run an outfit like ours. There's the upkeep on our planes, equipment, electronic devices. Say, what is this telegram? And the postman says, never mind my tip torch. I figure you guys need the dough more than me. You know what would probably fetch a pretty penny, Shane? That giant Aztec head that's just sitting there in the background of their living quarters for some reason.
Oh, yeah. I mean, who knows?
Would you put that in your living room?
No, I would not. Would you put it in yours?
My apartment's a little small for that, but also no. As Reed reads the telegram, he says, it's like a miracle. An offer from SM Studios in Hollywood. $1 million cash to us if we star in a movie. Oh, Reed, that's great. But what about the thing? You know how he feels about making a spectacle of himself. He hates to have people stare at him. But who walks in at just that moment, Shane?
Good old Ben.
You ain't just flapping your gums, mister. But I just found out I'm a white knight, and us white knights don't desert their companions in arms. I'm with you, gang. And he gives a big group hug to the other three members of the Fantastic Four. Reed says, I don't know what you're talking about, but welcome back, partner. Watch it, you big ape. You're even more dangerous when you're being friendly. It's agreed then. We stay together and go to Hollywood to make the picture. And the $1 million we receive will pay all of our bills and give us a fresh start. But I'll handle the money next time. Yeah, it's just like old times again. And they put their hands together, much like they did back in issue 1, to solidify their stance as a group. Just one little detail. How do we get to Hollywood? That's right, we're broke, and it's expensive to travel cross country. I guess there's only one thing to do. And what do we see in our next panel, Shane?
The Fantastic Four thumbing a ride or hitchhiking, if you will.
And Ben is stepped back away, hiding in the brush off the side of the road, and he says, I'll stay out of sight back here so I don't scare anyone away. Someone will stop sooner or later. Don't be embarrassed. We'll all laugh about this someday. I hope so. And we turn the page and we are greeted with part 2, which is titled What, Shane?
Submariner gives the orders.
A few days and many weary miles later, at the newly formed SM Studios in Hollywood, California, what are we seeing here, Shane?
Um, we're seeing a gathering of old celebrities, or at least old celebrity lookalikes that are filling up this whole studio, making it look real legit.
Well, Shane, who do we have here on this page?
I don't know.
Well, it's a good thing I do. So over to the left-hand side, we have James Arness and Amanda Blake as the characters Marshall Matt Dillon and Miss Kitty Russell from the longtime Western television series Gunsmoke. To the right, we have famed director and producer Alfred Hitchcock speaking with actor Charles Bronson. Fun story, Charles Bronson often featured on the television show Alfred Hitchcock Presents. But I'm assuming SM Studios here has been very successful in a short amount of time because they've been able to pick up Gunsmoke and Alfred Hitchcock Presents, two very popular television shows at the time. Actually, I think Alfred Hitchcock Presents was renamed to the Alfred Hitchcock Hour by this point. But anyway, that's at least this half page splash. And behind them, the Fantastic Four enter onto the studio lot. And Johnny says, So this is Hollywood. Isn't it thrilling? This ain't so bad. Some of those jokers are almost as funny looking as me. And Johnny looks over to another group of celebrities and says, Gosh, with all the celebrities around here, nobody's even noticing us. And who is Johnny looking at in this panel, Shane?
Um, I don't know who they're supposed to be. It looks like the Odd Couple to me, but I'm not sure.
So, the gentleman in the green fedora smoking the pipe is Bing Crosby. And next to him is Bob Hope, longtime friends, and probably two of the most prolific entertainers of the 20th century. So, again, SM Studios seems to be doing really well for themselves. And Reed says, Let's be glad they aren't. Next thing for us to do is find out where we're supposed to report to. And Ben takes off his hat and approaches the gentleman and says, Say, Curly, where's the head office of this joint? But this isn't just any gentleman, Shane. Who is it?
Again, I love that. Like, you know, I'm not gonna know. This is a fun game for you. You're smiling.
It's famed actor and television host Jackie Gleason of the Honeymooners fame, who looks at Ben in shock and says, Right behind you. And he turns away from Ben and this other gentleman. You got to know this guy.
No,
It's Dean Martin. How do you not know who Dean Martin is?
I don't know who any of these guys are supposed to be.
You don't know the name Dean Martin?
I
You've never.
know who Dean Martin is.
Well,
I
he's
know who.
drawn. He looks just like Dean Martin.
Sure.
And Dean Martin says to him, he goes, "What's wrong, Jack? You look like you've seen a ghost." Ghost? I'll settle for a ghost any day. What I want to know is, what was that? And Ben returns to Reed and says, "Follow me, Wonder Boy. The head office is over there." And they approach the office and they are greeted by a very pretty red-headed receptionist. Sue says, "We're the Fantastic Four. We were asked to report here for a movie." "Naturally. Please step inside." "Wow, if the receptionists look that good, I can't wait to see the stars." And the four enter into the producer's office, and the producer stands with his back to them, peering out the window. Go ahead and describe this office to us, Shane.
Very spacious. It's round, has windows on both sides of the desk, which is an extremely large desk. And the producer's in a nice green suit.
And Reed begins to outstretch his arm towards the producer. "That must be the producer over there." I'll tap him on the shoulder. "Man, what a layout! I'll flame on just to make an impression on him." And Johnny does just that. "Call this an office? It's more like a football field." But the producer continues to stare out of the window, as though unaware of the entrance of the Fantastic Four, until, Reed says, "Excuse me, but I think you were expecting us." And then, slowly, calmly, he turns and, "Look! Holy cow! You! It's the Submariner!" "At your service," says Namor, and he is smoking a cigarette with a very long cigarette holder. It looks very classy. "You need not look so surprised. My offer of $1 million was genuine enough. You see, all the wealth of the sea is mine." We see Namor in flashback digging through chests of treasure. "For years I have collected treasure from wrecked sunken ships, pirate galleons, and others carrying all sorts of priceless cargo. Ages ago, my ancestors witnessed the burying of countless hoards of stolen treasure, and each generation of undersea people handed the locations down to each following generation." And we see this has to be one of Namor's ancestors because their head is poking up out of the water, watching pirates bury treasure, and their hair is much grayer than Namor's.
Much grayer.
We return to the present where Namor begins doling out wads of cash to the Fantastic Four. "So, out of boredom, I bought this studio and decided to film a movie about my former arch foes. Now here is part payment of the sum I promised you." The money looks genuine enough, and we're not in a position to be too particular about who we work for. Sue thinks, he's so masterful, so confident. While Ben, counting the cash, says, "This whole thing still smells fishy to me, but I sure like the feel of these greenbacks in my mitt." A short time later, we see Reed getting fitted for a suit while Johnny looks on. Namor said we were to report for work Monday, which gives us time to make ourselves look a bit more presentable. "First thing I'm doing with my dough is buying a snazzy sports car." And so, what do we see, Shane?
We see him in a snazzy sports car that's bright pink.
And he's joined by two young ladies, one of which says, "Thanks for the lift, handsome, but why won't you tell us your name?" And the other says, "Are you an actor? You must be with a car like this." "Wait till we get out in the country and I'll show you what this baby can do," the second woman says. "Careful, the road is unpaved up ahead." "Don't let that worry you. I'll pave it for you in a flash. Nothing like a fireball to fuse the ground and make it smooth." And Johnny begins tossing fireballs ahead of the vehicle, which just seems like a bad idea.
Oh, it's the worst idea.
As in the next panel, as he's showing off, it just looks like they're careening towards a ball of flame.
Yep.
The second woman says, "You're even more famous than a star. You're the Human Torch." "In person, lady. Now I'll take you two back so you can impress all your friends when you see 'em." But while the torch goes Hollywood, the thing tries to get a little rest on Muscle Beach. And what do we see here, Shane?
We see Ben reading the paper while a bunch of people are just like troubling, like stomping all around him and stomping on him.
"Hey, watch where you're walking, lame brain." And in the next panel, we see, is musclehead's too harsh of a word here?
No, that's what they are, dude.
A
That's
lot of Charles Atlas wannabes here. They're doing handstands and lifting women up in the air with one hand. And Ben crawls out from under his newspaper and says, "Look at those creeps showing off. That gives me an idea how to get some peace and quiet around here." And what does he do, Shane?
so he in very much early Ben Grimm fashion takes matters into his own hands and kind of balls them all up and lifts them all up in the air in one foul swoop and delivers them to the ocean.
"So you like lifting weights, eh? Well, let's see you try to top this, you muscle-bound goons." And they land with a giant splash in the water. Meanwhile, at a fashionable Hollywood nightclub, Sue Storm dines with the man who holds a strange fascination for her. And go ahead and describe how both Namor and Sue are dressed here as they have dinner in this nightclub.
So Namor is in a very nice brown suit. Seems almost too classy for him. And then Sue is in I'm going to assume that that's a red dress that has black polka dots on it, almost like a Dalmatian pattern.
That is, Namor sips his tea, he says, "A penny for your thoughts, Sue." "I was thinking about you, Namor. You've been so kind to us, so generous. I was wondering why." "I'll give you your answer after the picture is finished, Sue. We start the filming soon." And not long afterward, a sleek schooner sails to a rarely visited section of the foggy Mediterranean. And we see a sailor standing up on a ship mast and he yells, "Land ho! It is Hidden Isle, just where Prince Namor said it would be." Man, that name is really spot on, huh, Shane?
Oh yeah, it's so hidden.
And we see the ship's captain standing in the background of the next panel, but in the foreground stands Mr. Fantastic next to Namor, who is pointing to the island, his hand resting comfortably upon Reed's shoulder. "Hidden Isle has been unknown for centuries. I discovered it recently on my travels. It is there we shall film the first scenes of my picture, the scenes starring Mr. Fantastic." "What about my script?" "You won't need a script. Your role calls for you to battle a giant mechanical figure of Cyclops on that island. Just do what comes naturally. We'll photograph you from the ship with telescopic lenses." Namor gestures over to the giant camera. That thing is huge. And Reed says, "Sounds simple enough. No need to launch a boat for me. I'll reach the isle my own way." And he stretches all the way from the boat over to Hidden Isle. Minutes later, Reed begins to push his way through the mountainous terrain past the boulders. Thinks, "No sign of the mechanical Cyclops yet. Wonder what it looks like. Must be a big shaggy monster, like the one used in the old-time movie King Kong." While on the ship, Namor smiles in the most sinister manner and thinks, "The fool fell for it. Wait till he learns that the Cyclops isn't mechanical. It's the real Cyclops. who won't allow any human to leave his isle alive. Now to return home. We're finished here. And in our next panel, we see Reed's figure start to get overcome by a massive shadow, the source of which says, "After all these centuries, a human intruder!" And Reed shouts, "Cyclops, you're alive!" And we turn the page and we are greeted with part three.
The fury of Mr. Fantastic.
And what do we see here?
We see the giant who that is the Cyclops with a giant boulder over his head looking to absolutely destroy Mr. Fantastic by smashing him into the ground and making a pancake.
Yeah, I don't understand why he doesn't just use his eye beams,
Because he doesn't have laser beams.
but he's Cyclops.
He's a Cyclops, he's not Cyclops.
That's confusing.
I
And
would
as
say that
this,
this one's wearing a loincloth and the other one doesn't wear a loincloth, but that's not true. He's also worn a loincloth in the past.
you see where my confusion stems from then.
I mean, this one only has one eye, the other one has two.
It's debatable.
It's got glasses.
What you saying? Just because a guy has one eye, he can't wear glasses?
No, I'm saying Cyclops, the X-Men, the mutant, has glasses. This is a Cyclops, as in a humanoid that only has one eye.
Eh,
Singular.
you say tomato, I say potato, whatever.
Fair enough.
And as the Cyclops prepares to smash Reed with his boulder that he's holding over his head, he yells, "Of course I live! I am immortal, but you, lowly human, are not. Submariner tricked me. I've blundered into a trap. Namor ordered me to keep you prisoner on this isle, but I have no use for prisoners." And the boulder begins to careen down towards Reed, who yells, "No time to dodge,"
Crash.
as the boulder impacts with the ground. Seconds later, after the dust has cleared, what do we see?
We see Pancake Reed squeezing out from underneath the boulder.
One thing Namor forgot to tell you, the reason they call me Mr. Fantastic. And Reed pops back into shape and begins to flee from the Cyclops. "Run, puny human. Run till you drop. There is no escape from Hidden Isle. Sooner or later, I shall crush you." And Reed wraps his legs around a boulder. What is it? The stalactite or stalagmite?
The mites are the ones that come up, right? The tights are the ones that come down.
Okay, so stalagmite. So he wraps his leg around one stalagmite and his arms around adjacent stalagmite. It says, "Well, don't just stand there. If you're gonna throw that thing, then throw it. Those are the last words you'll ever utter." And the boulder careens towards Reed, whose body catches it and stretches outward. "I hoped you do that, and now it's my turn." The fantastic body of Reed Richards absorbs the boulder's impact, then hurls it back towards the astonished giant. And the boulder narrowly misses hitting the Cyclops square in the face, but explodes upon impact with the cliffside behind him. The Cyclops shouts, "You are more than human, but still no match for Cyclops. My strength is too great. Nothing you can do will stop me." And he charges towards Reed, attempting to grab him. But what does Reed do, Shane?
He stretches his legs out and makes like a nice wrap for him and trips him.
Yeah,
It's beautiful.
it's a cool way to use his powers as tripwire like that. The dinosaurs were strong too, but look what happened to them. Reed says the Cyclops falls over the edge into a pit in the aisle. And Reed, as he watches him fall, says, "That takes care of him. By the time he can climb out of that pit, I'll be halfway to Hollywood. I've got a score to settle with Submariner now." And what of Prince Namor? We now find him flying high above the dense African jungle with Johnny Storm. And our scene shifts to see a helicopter approaching the jungle. And Namor says, Your scene is next, Torch. We shall photograph it from the plane with long distance cameras while you perform below. Remember, you will pretend to fight the natives in the village below. Make the battle seem realistic. And we see Johnny leaning out of this helicopter, and he's wearing a flight suit and a parachute, which is a different sort of look for him. It sounds too easy. How could a bunch of savages give me any competition? You'll find out when you land. Now jump. And describe the natives that we see here, Shane.
I don't know what you would want to call it, but they're I'm assuming that's the chief there in the front that has like the horns coming down around his chin to make him look kind of like he's got elephant tusks in front of him with this very furry slash feathery cap attached to those tusks. They definitely are warriors. They got a bunch of spears and shields.
And Johnny lands in the midst of this crowd and thinks to himself, it still seems kooky to me. Why would he want to produce a movie with no script? Oh well, I should worry. Hope he gets some good pictures from up there. And one of the native warriors says, Do not move. You are our prisoner. The natives? They'll jump out of their skins when they see me in flame. But Namor, once again watching the action from the helicopter, has that sinister smile on his face and thinks, Ah, I forgot to tell that fool teenager one little detail. Those natives have a magic potion which makes them immune to fire. I can return to Hollywood now. The torch will never escape them. And we turn our page to part four.
The flame of battle.
And Johnny, in the midst of the natives in this half page splash, yells, Flame on! And then thinks to himself, I don't understand. They don't seem to be the least bit old. While one of the warriors says, You waste your time. Flame means nothing to us. Seize him! And, we get a look at some more of these warriors, Shane, and their dress sense is eclectic to say the least.
Oh yeah.
One's wearing like a bear mask. Or is that like a panther mask or jaguar mask or something? I'm not sure. I can't really tell. It's an animal mask. The other one has like a lizard helm on. It's strange. Don't really know how to really reconcile it in my head here. So Johnny takes to the skies, thinking, I'd better take to the air while I think this out. I've heard of a strange tribe which is immune to fire. They must be that tribe. Why didn't some mariner warn me? And where is his plane? Why isn't he filming this? And the chieftain shouts, Follow him from the ground. Prince Namor said that his flame dies down sooner or later. Then he will be our prisoner. Finally, what happens?
He flames off and falls to the ground where they can pick him up.
It was a plot. Mariner wanted me to be trapped by the natives. Got to fall to Earth now. Flame's dying out. Can't fly any longer. And the natives are on Johnny in a heartbeat. Seize him. He is helpless. It is as the mighty Submariner said. He will be our captive. And the natives proceed to put Johnny into like a big floating cage. This kind of reminds me of Wicker Man. Johnny thinks to himself, Namor must have ordered them to imprison me. But why? What's behind it all? I've got to find out. And the chieftain begins to have some of the tribesmen pour liquids into a giant cauldron and yells, Now prepare the magic potion. Let the prisoner see why we fear not his fire. Flames cannot harm us. We can walk through fire, touch fire. And they begin to basically walk through what looks like just a giant pyre, and they are unharmed.
Yeah, it's wild.
And the chieftain motions to another gentleman and yells, Once we have breathed our magic potion, We can swallow fire. Let the prisoner see our amazing powers. And what does this tribesman start doing, Shane?
He starts literally having sticks that are on fire and starts shoving them down his throat.
I've seen stage magicians do that. I don't think they have a magic potion.
Also true.
And Johnny looks like he is just getting angrier and angrier as he's within this cage, and he yells, "Okay, hotshot, you've had your fun, and now I've got a few little tricks of my own." Having rested long enough, the torch's body again has regained its miraculous power to burn, and so what happens, Shane?
He, does his catchphrase and bursts out as he flames on.
Flame on! It'll take more than a bamboo cage to hold me when I use my nitro flame. And even if your spears are tipped in a potion which will harm my flaming body, first you have to figure out which of these flaming images I can create as the real me. And Johnny, in a very unique use of his powers, creates about 10 duplicates of himself that start running around this camp.
Yeah, I didn't realize he was had ninjutsu power.
While the real Johnny takes to the air and yells, "And by the time you spot me, I'll be well out of range of those pea pickers of yours." The chieftain yells, "You will not escape. When your flame dies, we will again seize you, but next time we slay you on sight." Well, that's where he's wrong. There ain't gonna be a next time. Not if that volcano I see yonder has a spark of life still left in it. I'm in luck. It's been smoldering for years. All it'll take now is one well-aimed fireball like this. And Johnny hurls a fireball down into the midst of the volcano. Suddenly, as the fireball reaches its glowing center, the slumbering volcano erupts with a mind-staggering explosion. Those fire eaters may not fear flame, but there is one thing even they cannot stand up to, and that is a sea of molten lava. And lava just engulfs the village of this tribe. The natives escaped, but the lava destroyed their magic potions. They won't dare battle me now. They've lost their immunity to flame. But now I've got to head for the States and a showdown with that scheming, double dealing submariner. Meanwhile, let us join Prince Namor once more. And what is Namor up to?
He's walking the shoreline with Ben.
And Namor says to Ben, "While my camera crews film Mr. Fantastic and the Torch on location thing, we'll shoot our big fight scene right here on the Hollywood beach." "Our big fight scene? Are you kidding, Fish Man? What makes you think you could give me a battle?" "I'm glad you asked me." Suddenly, with unbelievable speed and strength, Namor strikes, and he catches Ben with a right hook that takes him off his feet. "Here's the first part of your answer, you walking gargoyle. I've been waiting for a chance to rough you up for a long time, gruesome." And Ben lands in the water, but he manages to mule kick Namor and send him flying.
Yeah, with a giant woof.
"Yeah? Well, it looks like you didn't wait long enough, loudmouth." Namor leaps back towards Ben from the sea, shouting, "Nothing pleases me more than to have a foe get overconfident." "Huh?" Flying through the air, Submariner lands on the thing's shoulders with the force of a runaway pile driver. And he lands feet first and then proceeds to jump up and land again and again. Time and again, the mighty monarch of the sea hurls himself high above his victim, and then, over and over, he hammers the stunned thing deeper and deeper into the soggy sand below. "Okay, wethead, you had your fun. Just let me shove this mud off of me and I'll make mincemeat out of you." And Namor looks shocked and yells, "You're not beaten yet?" For a moment, the fight is a standoff as the wary thing lumbers groggily onto the shore, one question repeating over and over again in his aching head. Why doesn't Namor get tired? Where does his strength come from? And then, in a blinding flash, the answer comes to him. The water. I should have guessed. That's why he wanted to fight on the beach. And Namor prepares to deliver a final blow to Ben and says, This is it, mister. And we turn the page to another wonderful half page splash that heralds part five, Shane.
Yeah, vengeance is ours.
And Ben has managed to get behind Namor and grab his wrist and is pulling him back from the ocean onto the shore. No, you don't, fish man. Before we do anything else, I'm going to drag you way up on shore, away from the water. No, you can't. If if I ever get my arms loose, I'll finish you for good now. You can't drag Prince Namor out of the sea this way. No! Despite the superhuman efforts of the steel-muscled Samaritan, the rampaging thing makes one last Herculean effort as he exerts every last ounce of his unbelievable strength to remove Namor from the source of his power, until finally, Stop squirming, Sonny. This'll only hurt for a minute. And Ben manages to grab Namor by the belt and is rearing back to catch him with just a huge right-handed haymaker. You coward! You wouldn't dare let me remain in the surf. Then suddenly, as a heavy thunderstorm darkens the heavens, the thing is struck full force by a supercharged bolt of lightning. Shaking the cobwebs from his brain, Namor watches as the thing reels dizzily, but still remains standing. By the trident of Davy Jones, what does it take to knock you out? The thing has absorbed a shock which would have been fatal to a lesser man, but has a strange effect on Namor's hulking foe. There, in the gathering darkness, the mysterious power of the electrical charge causes the thing to change once again, and within seconds, the thing gives way to husky, handsome, uncomprehending Ben Grimm. But in the darkness, still weakened from the pounding he suffered at the hands of the thing, Submariner is unaware of the change as he throws one last pile-driving blow at the shadowy figure who stands before him. And as Namor's fist impacts on Ben's jaw, Namor thinks, if this doesn't stop him, I'm licked. I can't fight any more. And Ben collapses with an ugh. I did it. I defeated the thing. I've beaten them all. I've won. Won. Slowly, Namor stumbles away, waiting for the almost limitless strength to return to his more than human body, not suspecting that his victory is not quite as complete as he would have wished it to be. And then, minutes later, at the offices of SM Productions, who greets Namor in his office, Shane?
None other than Sue herself.
Namor, you're back. But where are the others? What does it matter? Forget about them. You are looking at the man who triumphed over them all. Triumphed over them? What do you mean? And Namor places his hands upon Sue's shoulders. I mean that I have proven that I am master of the Fantastic Four. Now, I'll give you the reason why I have done all this. Now that the others are out of the way, I want you to be my bride. You ask me that? Oh, you, you fool. And Sue vanishes from visibility. Perhaps if you hadn't deceived us, if you had been honest with us, I might have answered you differently. But now I've got to prove that you still haven't defeated the Fantastic Four, not while one of us remains to defy you. And she begins chucking books off of Namor's bookshelves at him. Stop. Don't fight me. It's hopeless. You know I'll win in the end. And Sue begins tossing Namor's furniture between herself and him. Sue, show yourself to me. I know how you feel about me. You can't fool your heart. Come back. Sue! And Namor makes a leap for Sue, but she manages to duck beneath him. All right. If it's a contest you want, I'll defeat you as I have defeated the others. He he's flying past me towards the door. Whether I can see you or not, you'll never escape me now. And Namor locks the door.
Click.
And then, strangely, his body begins to crackle with energy. You forget. I have the power of all the creatures who live beneath the sea. I can use the very air with electricity, using the power of the electric eel. I myself am not without resources, Namor. And Sue throws the carpet from the room up over top of the submariner. This carpet, thrown over you, will provide insulation for me, protecting me from the electric current. And Namor pulls the carpet from over his head, his eyes glowing white. You are worthy of me, female, in every way. But here is a power you cannot combat, the radar sense of the cave fish from the lowest depths of the sea. They have no eyes, but can sense the presence of others by using their radar-type instincts, as I shall do with you. And we have an editor's note here that reads,
To explain more fully how Namor uses his radar vision, this is the way Sue is invisible to the normal eye. So this panel has Sue invisible, so you can see the speakers, the telephone, the desks, and all that behind her, and just a straight outline of her without anything colored in. And then the next part is, but to Namor using the radar vision, this is the way the invisible girl appears to him, like an image on a radar screen. And for him, she is a white silhouette with a blue background with lines going through it.
it's very Daredevil.
Yeah,
Namor is extremely overpowered in this issue. Literally by his next appearance in the series, by FF14, all these powers are gone. And I don't think they're ever really seen again.
that's
So,
probably for the best.
yeah, yeah. It's a nice retcon because he is way too overpowered for my liking in this issue. So now being able to see Sue, he makes a dive for her and manages to get his arms around her waist. Now that I know where you are, you can elude me no longer. Take your hands off me, you barbarian. Your struggles are useless. I like a woman with spirit. Only such a female can be a fitting mate for Namor, the monarch of the sea. No, I'm not beaten yet. I'll. And there's a sound, Shane.
Crash.
What's that? And what is it, Shane?
It's the three boys from the Fantastic Four breaking their way in to settle the score.
And Reed says, all right, Namor, this is it. Release that girl. And Ben is now back in his thing form. Keep out of this, Reed. You promised I could have him first. Oh no, that's my sister he's threatening. He's mine. And all three of the incoming members of the Fantastic Four charge and tackle Namor. Reed, trying to be the voice of reason, yells, Thing, Torch, stop. Give him a chance. He can't escape us. Didn't think I'd turn back to the Thing again, did you? It took a lightning bolt to help you beat me, but the storm's over now. And Johnny has flamed on and is about to take a swing and yells, Let me have him. He's mine. But what happens?
Sue puts herself between them and Namor.
And Reed yells, Sue, what are you doing? Stay back. All of you. Even if you think he is your enemy, it's 3 against 1. You never ganged up on anyone before. Wrong.
Very much so.
I mean, let's see here. I'm pretty sure they've ganged up on the Mole Man. Granted, he had an army. They definitely ganged up on the Miracle Man. Puppet Master was one guy.
I don't know.
And Sue says, Besides, we made a contract with Namor. We lived up to our part. We cooperated in his movie. Now he must live up to his part. And Namor bows his head and says, the movie will be produced, as promised. You will get your money. And then, silently, majestically, the proud figure turns and leaves the building, as no hand is raised to stop him. With slow, steady tread, he enters the vast, swirling sea, never looking back. The monarch returns to his domain. And Sue says, You, you did the right thing. All three of you. You had to let him go. After all, he lives by a different code than we do. He can never really understand us, and whatever he did for love. Weeks later, all America claims a new motion picture hit, little dreaming of the amazing tale behind the film. The Fantastic Four once again have the money to carry on their unique life's work, and our saga is ended. And what do we see in this last panel, Shane?
We see them all standing like on the I guess it would be the yellow carpet. It's not red, right for the grand opening and just pure jubilation.
But the adventures of the Fantastic Four are not over. Next month, there will be more thrills and surprises with the foursome whose incredible exploits and down to earth realism truly make this the world's greatest comic magazine. The end. But not really, Shane, because we've got a Fantastic Four feature page.
We do.
And what is this one titled?
How the Human Torch Flies.
And we see Johnny flying in from the upper right corner as he says, last issue, I promised to explain my method of flying, and so, basically, my power of flight comes from my intense flame, which affects the molecules of my body so that they become lighter than air, causing me to be able to rise and soar. And we see him studying a weather map. My biggest enemy is water, so I carefully study weather maps to learn where rain is apt to fall. Then I avoid those areas whenever possible. And in the next panel down, we see him floating through what looks like a very flammable obstacle course.
Yeah, I don't know why that was a wood obstacle course. I thought that was wild also.
At least once a week, I test my maneuverability by flying through a practice course which Reed designed for me. And then we see Johnny flying over top of, I believe that's the tri state area. And he says, I constantly train myself to be observant, so I can be of use to the Fantastic Four by spotting people and places from my vantage point overhead. My maximum speed is capable of creating a sonic boom, so I must be careful not to attain that speed when flying over densely populated areas. And he hits the sonic boom, Shane.
With a nice crack.
My weakness is the fact that my flame burns for only a limited period of time. The brighter it burns, and the faster I fly, the sooner it is extinguished. So I dare not blaze too brightly or fly too fast until I've made sure I won't need my flame for too long a time. And that wraps Volume 1, Issue 9. Shane, what did you think of this one?
Um, I don't know. It wasn't the worst one, but it wasn't the best one. It left me wanting more. I don't know. That's pretty much where I feel about it. What about yourself?
This one wasn't for me. I don't like this one. Namor seems out of character. Most of his dialogue is completely unbecoming of what I find to be the Submariner's nobility. There's a lot of leaps here that just don't make sense to me. So, yeah, this one was not for me.
Well, you want to get into our Fantastic Four?
Yeah, sure, we can talk about the Fantastic Four of the week. You actually go first, Shane. So, your Fantastic Frame of the week. Give me that favorite panel.
Page 5, panel 4. It's, Ben giving him the big old group hug. Just a good family moment. Ben realizing that Alicia's right and he needs to just buckle up and be the White Knight and protect the silly other members of the Fantastic Four who are clearly more fragile than him.
Okay. No, I do like that panel. It's kind of the first time in the series that we get to see a little bit of a softer side to Ben. And 9 issues in, that's really refreshing to see, honestly.
I think the big thing here, especially with like going back and reading these Jack and Stan issues, is Ben is so grumpy.
Oh yeah.
And Alicia's like the first one to break through the skin. And it's like the first time you see hit like the Ben that they knew before he was the thing come out.
And I will say that this is, for me, the one thing that this issue does have going for it is you get that bit of character development for Ben, and that goes a long way in this series. To this day, we see it.
What was yours, bud?
Well, we're going to stick with page 5, but we are going to go ahead and drop down to panel 7 because the image of the FF hitchhiking just makes me giggle.
I mean, it's funny.
Yeah. I mean, just Ben hiding in the woods and then literally them with their bags packed, just standing along the side of the road with their thumbs out. I mean, it's a fun image.
It would have been funnier if they rolled Sue's pant leg up a little bit so she showed a little ankle.
Oh, that would be amazing. Uh, curse the Comic Code Authority.
What's your Grimm's grumble?
My grim grumbling for the week.
Yeah.
So it's not a specific panel or anything. It is literally there's a lot. There's a lot that I could have put in this, but I think the thing that bothered me most is the timeline and the pacing of this issue. So Reed being on an island in the middle of the Mediterranean and Johnny being in the African jungle isn't terrible because at least those two locations aren't very far apart for Namor to get to, in a reasonable amount of time, considering he has a ship and an aircraft. But then Namor fights Ben on a Hollywood beach. And even so, how did Reed and Johnny get back to Hollywood so fast from like the other side of the world? To let alone meet up with Ben and assist Sue. Like it
Well,
doesn't make sense.
Johnny could. He said he could break the sound barrier.
Except, okay, yeah, there's that, but he can break the sound barrier, but he's flying from halfway across the world. And on the Fantastic Four feature page,
You're
he can,
right.
yeah, as he is in canon at that time, his flame can only last a limited amount of time. Johnny, modern day Johnny, probably fine. This Johnny, I don't see it, man. And that really pulled me out of the story. A lot of things pulled me out of the story. That pulled me out of the story the most. What about you? What was your grim grumbling for the week?
The whole Namor Sue triangle, which I mean, I know it always exists, but it always bothers me. And this one really bothers me when she just like her protecting Namor. She should have just let the boys like at least put the fear into him and not let him just walk out to the ocean.
I will say, those guys had legit beef with that man.
And
Could have it.
he deserved his, comeuppings. So
And let's be real. I mean, they ganged up on Miracle Man, and that dude is not nearly as powerful as Namor. And this is Namor amped through the roof, like we were talking about earlier, where he's allowed to mimic all sea life. Like he could have taken it.
yeah, so I'm going to say that it's definitely the Sue protecting Namor thing. I just couldn't do it.
How about your cosmic cliffhanger for this issue?
That is page, pretty sure it's page 19. Yeah, it's 19. 19 panel 3 when Ben gets struck by lightning.
That is a pretty epic moment and definitely a hell of a way to leave a page.
Because I was like, where the hell are we going from there? Because Ben literally, up until that point, Ben was about to destroy Namor. Namor was about to get pretty screwed up. So, what was yours, bud?
Mine was page 10, panel 8, which is where the shadow of Cyclops looms over Reed Richards. really was looking forward to seeing what the Cyclops design was going to be like. It's okay. It's a little less Harryhausen than what I'd want it to be, but I mean it's still a reasonable looking Cyclops. But I mean, you don't know what you're going to get before you turn that page, and it just really amped up the suspense levels for me.
Fair enough. I mean, I like the Cyclops in this.
Yeah,
Maybe
it's not a
just
bad design. Not a bad design at all.
maybe just a little more hair on the chest. He's a
Yeah.
little hairless. He
I
was
said I
a
got to thinking about like Clash of the Titans and whatnot, and just it's kind of thing I expect from a Cyclops. But this was pre that, so
he's a waxed boy. He gets he has good spa days.
it's kind of like King Kong Bundy.
Yeah. So most fantastic player.
Yeah, in this issue,
Yeah.
Jackie Gleason. That was my pick because he points them to the head office, which helps get this story over with.
Fair enough. I went with Sue just because she also kind of just got this story over with by saving Namor's behind. Like she's the only one that kind of isn't trying to just destroy Namor. When they tussle, theirs is much more uh I don't know. I would want to say it not as violent.
Yeah, less knockdown, drag out, brawl, and more domestic dispute. Is that what we're talking about?
It does kind of look like that.
Yeah, no, man. You can pick her. I'm gonna disagree because she's the one who puts herself between that. Think about it this is what bothers me about the suit thing. Maybe I should have mentioned it during your Grim grumbling, but they're broke. They need money. This dude comes in and goes, "I'll give you money," and then tries to kill three of them as a marriage proposal. And like then, I mean, let's be real. None of this is a good look during this fight with Sue. And then when he gets a hold of her, it's all very suggestive. Yeah, I don't know. It's just I can't. I couldn't give it to Sue because it just felt like, hey, we're out of pages now and we got to wrap this up, which I wish they would have wrapped it up in less pages, quite frankly. But yeah, she can be your pick, but man, I'm going with Jackie Gleason.
This is a
Is the
bad
is the only guy who was in character the whole time.
this is a bad story. I'm not gonna disagree with you.
And somehow it's like a definitive Fantastic Four story, though. This is like the story that spawned every the FF goes broke story. Like this, there are things from this story that'll keep coming back throughout the run. I mean, even bad stories, I guess, can be definitive. But yeah, no, not for me. Not for me at all. Sorry, I feel
Yes.
like I'm being overly negative this time around, but
Nah, this is a bad story. This is my to you, this is like what the time travel issue was to me.
oh, the
Like
the intro Doom.
the intro Doom, yeah.
Which, if y'all want to check out that episode, you can go ahead and visit episode 13, which was Fantastic Four, Volume 1, Number 5, Prisoners of Doctor Doom, to see what we're
So
talking about.
this is your intro Doom.
Yeah, I guess so. But it's important that anybody who actually wants to read this book, be able to form their opinion for themselves. It's been reprinted plenty of times. The first time was in December of 1966 in Marvel Collector's Item Classics number 6. There was also the Spanish market reprints that was in Los Four Fantásticos number 5 back in 1969. Marvel UK put out this story in The Mighty World of Marvel, Volume 1, numbers 18 and 19 in February of 1973. And then again in Complete Fantastic Four, numbers 18 and 19 in January and February of 1978. Then plenty of trades have also collected it. Marvel Masterworks Fantastic Four Volume 1 from November of 1987. Essential Fantastic Four Volume 1 from November of 1998. Today, of course, I broke into Fantastic Four Omnibus Volume 1, which was published back in January of 2005. They also did another UK reprint via Panini Comics in Fantastic Four Adventures Volume 1, Number 9, March of 2006. I'm sure you broke into your Epic Collection, Volume 1, The World's Greatest Comic Magazine from September of 2014.
Yep.
It was also in the Namor the Submariner Epic Collection, Volume 1 from April of 2021. There was the Mighty Marvel Masterworks Fantastic Four Volume 1, World's Greatest Heroes from July of 2021. This year in August, there was the Namor the Submariner Omnibus Volume 1. And we also got the Fantastic Four Volume 1, Number 9 Facsimile Edition back on September 10th of 2025. And of course, you can also find it on Marvel Unlimited or browse the key issue wall of your local comic shop. Kind of hurt for me to
Ugh.
call this a key issue, not gonna lie.
Fair enough.
Well, this has been adapted kind of sort of at least once into other media. While it's not a direct adaptation, the 20th and final episode of the 1967 Fantastic Four cartoon was titled The Deadly Director. Has a bit of a similar plot. The villain is a chameleon-like figure, the chameleon from Spider-Man.
Is it the chameleon from Spider-Man?
Well, he's a chameleon-like figure. His name in the show is the Imposter, and he
Okay.
replaces a film director named Otto von Lenz and lures the FF to Hollywood under the pretense of
Did
making
you
a
just
film.
say his name was Otto von Lens?
Sure did. Sure did.
What?
Yep. Otto von Lenz. I'm assuming a German filmmaker, judging by the accent he has in the episode. But yeah,
The
he
Von Lens and the Otto didn't give it away.
yeah, they made it real on the nose. So yeah, he lures them to Hollywood under the pretense of making a film, and then he traps them on his private island filled with costume henchmen and traps. He films it all. Even with a name like Otto von Lenz, I would say it's still a better version of the story than the one that we actually read today.
It's a Scooby-Doo episode.
Pretty much. And the show was made by Hanna-Barbera, so maybe, it's where they got their inspiration. All right, pal. You ready to hear what we're looking at next week?
Yeah.
So we're back to the early 2000s. We're gonna go back to visit the adventures of Johnny Storm in Human Torch, Volume 3, Number 3 by Carl Kessel and Scotty Young.
Oh man, we left at a really interesting spot last time with that whole Sin City aesthetic with that
Yeah,
skull.
we sure did. Very horror comic-esque. We'll see how this tale continues to unfold. But Johnny's got a murder mystery to solve.
Yeah, I like it.
Yeah, not a bad little series so far. Well,
So,
true believers, thanks again for joining us this week. As always, your feedback is super important to us. We would highly appreciate it if you would leave us a 5-star review on Apple with a comment or a comment on Spotify. We did actually get a little bit of feedback off of an episode recently.
hmm
That feedback was off episode 28, which was Fantastic Four Volume 1, number 232, Back to the Basics by frequent listener Bob Wright, who says, such a great episode and a great book. Thank you so much for it. His favorite part was when Johnny defeated the Flame Elemental, and he lets us know that there is a continuation on Diablo and Doctor Strange's story that happens right after issue 232 in Iron Man number 159, which was drawn by Paul Smith, and that it was very interesting to see Paul Smith trying to draw like John Byrne. So, would recommend you all check that out if you're interested in the follow-up on Diablo from episode 28. And you can also be like Bob and join us on our Facebook group. You can find us over there at the Fantastic Four Fancast, where we encourage you to engage in FF-related discussions and share Fantastic Four content. We only ask that you adhere to our group rules, the most important of which is to be respectful of your fellow group members. You can follow us on Instagram at Fan4Fancast. That is FAN, the number 4, FANCAST. And you can also contact us by email with any feedback or suggestions at fan4fancast@gmail.com. Again, That is FAN, the number four, FANCAST at gmail.com. Again, catch us on Apple, Spotify. Follow us so we show up in your feed each and every week. Shane, do you have any final thoughts for the true believers out there this week?
No, I don't think so.
I'm going to
This
revisit something you said back when we were doing Fantastic Four 1, 2, 3, 4 and just say, just because maybe we didn't dig this story, I know I didn't. Check it out for yourself, form your own opinions. Everyone has a different opinion. Sometimes they're wrong. Maybe mine is. I don't know. But
I I am a strong I do strongly believe that everyone gives everything, even if we say that it's a sparkling perfect 10 out of 10 book from both of us, that everyone gives it a shot. Because one, we're not even we do describe some of the panels, but we don't stop to describe all the panels. And the art needs to be appreciated just as much as the words and the rest of the story.
very true. And I will stick by the fact that the reason that I have not started doing like a video section of this podcast on Spotify or YouTube is simply because I want people to have a reason to go check out these books and form their own opinions. So maybe someday, but today is not that day. Tomorrow's not looking that good either. So
Yeah, I don't know. Duh. Read more books.
we read at least one each and every week, and we're glad that you join us for it. So for Shane Murray, I'm Nate Charles, and until next week, we hope you all stay fantastic.